I think that's the thing that makes me most proud is they're growing up. Like, it's so cool to see your kids just change and develop and become the person that you've been praying for your whole life, and making lives for themselves and providing for themselves and doing great things for other people. I have 4 kids, and my oldest lives in Colorado. She is 25. My next one is in grad school here at Southeastern. She's 23. My oldest son is in school in Ohio. He's 21. And my youngest is a sophomore in high school, and he's 15. I had been coaching since 1991, and my first child was born in 95. So I'd been coaching for about 5 years before that. So it was an interesting time. It's hard. My wife and I were just talking about this the other day, about how it's been kind of bizarre to see where we are today compared to where we were in 1991. We had nothing. I made like $9,000 as an assistant cross-country coach, and did part-time jobs to make a little more money on top of that. And you know, to think about even having kids was kind of crazy, but you know, the Lord provides when you need it, and as you know, I'm sure. And it's just neat to see where we're at today, and now we have a beautiful house, and our kids have all gone to college, or are in college, or will be going to college probably. And you know, we live very comfortable, nice lives, and God's really blessed us, so it's really cool. I mean, I think I've done better as I've gotten older. When you first become a coach, or any job, I'd say for that, you're pretty excited about having a job where you're getting paid to do something that you love to do. And your focus sometimes is more on that than what really it should be focused on. So I know the first few years that I was a coach, you know, my wife was a saint, basically. I mean, she really raised our kids when they were little, and we made it work so that she was able to stay home. I don't really know how we did that either. Once we actually started having kids, she didn't work, and you know, there were days that I would go to my job, my full-time job, because I eventually became a nurse. When we started having kids, that was one of the things that we decided is like, I have to make more money. So I got my nursing degree in the process of the first few years that we were married, and nursing worked well with coaching. I was able to be a nurse either all night and then sleep during the day and then go to practice in the afternoon, or during the morning, early afternoon, and then go to practice after we were done working as a nurse. I could avoid evenings and stuff like that, so it worked really well with my coaching job. So there were times where I'd be gone all day if I was sleeping, I'd be gone all day while I was sleeping, or if I was working days, I'd be gone from 6 a.m. until 4 o'clock, and I'd have practice till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I never even saw my kids. So, and I look back on that, and sometimes it's hard because I really feel like there was a lot of times that I did miss of especially my girls, my older girls, kids. I don't even remember a lot of their childhood, which is sad for me to think about that. And it's something I tell young parents that are in any profession, if they want to talk to me about that kind of stuff, is like, be aware of that. Like, don't let your job do that. But also, you know, it was a choice that we made. Like, Suzanne probably could have worked, and I could have probably not worked as much, and they wouldn't have seen as much as their mother, and maybe a little bit more of me. So, but again, I really was blessed to have a wife who loves kids, and that's her profession, is teaching, and was a great mom. And we just felt like that was the best thing for our family, was for her to be there for them as they were growing up. And then I think, as you know, again, as I made a transition to different jobs and things to work with my coaching when I was in New York, I did get more involved in their lives and started to realize this is something I need to be more focused on rather than my jobs. And especially when I was able to come here and make this a full-time position instead of just a part-time job like I had in New York, it's been much easier for me to make the time to see my family, and I'm now able to come here only. Even though we do have early morning practices and we have meets that take me away from town, I have way more time here to be with my family than I ever did when I was at my old job. So, but there's still, like, I have to make a conscious effort sometimes about saying, listen, I've never seen my kid run a cross-country meet. I need to make sure that I get to one of his meets. So that's something that, last year I made sure I went and saw Eli run, because with Sydney, when I first got here, I don't think I saw her run until her senior year, when she was in high school. And that was my first 2 or 3 years here. That, like, I was so busy with starting a new job, I lost focus on what my own kid was doing in the sport that I love. I would not look at myself as being like a huge spiritual leader to my family. I think we do a lot of things the way that we had done to us. And I grew up in a very Christian home. That my parents always went to church and always talked about their faith, and were very open about that. And but they also didn't like sit down and have family devotions and pray together and that kind of stuff. And honestly, like, that's good or bad, that's kind of the way I am with my family too. Church is a big deal for me. Like, I feel like that is something as a family that I need to do. So I'm very focused on that again. Like, that's something that, like, when we're home, especially, like if we're out of town or something like that, sometimes it doesn't always work out that we go somewhere else. But when we're home, like, that should be something that we're doing as a family and participating in that. And dinner time is another really big deal for me. Like, I feel like that's something that, again, as a kid, I always will remember, is that my parents, most of the time, were always there for dinner. Even my dad, who was a doctor and would have crazy hours and stuff like that, I can pretty much always remember he was at most dinners, if not all. And that would be a time that we would pray at dinner, and we would talk about our lives, and we would hear what was going on, and it would be a lot of social things, so finding out what's going on in each other's life and talking about those issues. And a lot of times that's where our faith was kind of grown from, is what things we were dealing with and how could my parents help and how could they pray for us and stuff like that. So again, like, that's another big deal to me. Like, I do not like it when somebody puts something during dinner time. It just drives me crazy. Youth sports drives me crazy, and that's probably why a lot of my kids never did youth sports, is because they just don't have any time concept about that. Like, that 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock time is sacred to me. Like, that's when we eat dinner together. So I guess that's, to answer your question, is like, I really feel like just having those times where my family is together, that we can be honest with each other. And again, my kids know who I am, and my kids know who I believe in, and what my life is like, and what I am here to do is my purpose of it. But do I sit there and open a Bible with them every day and talk about spiritual things? No, I don't do that. But I've had very deep conversations with probably each one of my kids about their faith and what they're struggling with and how God can help them through that. And I think, again, that's worked for me. I turned out okay, and hopefully it works okay for them too. It's very interesting. How it came to be, again, I think, we are very blessed to have a tuition benefit here. So I think one of her thoughts was that this was a great school, and it obviously was cost effective. So she really was excited about coming to school here, and Erin had gone here as well, and she really knew that Erin's experience was good. So, if she wanted to keep running, she'd have to run for me. So she was kind of forced into that. Her high school career was a lot different than what her college career was as far as the coaching style. Her high school coach was much more aggressive, and so I think she was very, leery of change to something different, even though it might be for the better. I don't know if she would say it was for the better or not, but she was, I think, excited about doing something different, but also a little bit afraid if she would be good enough or if she would like it or whatever. So, and then the fact, again, that her dad was going to be her coach, what that would be like. So, but I think that I think she, in the process of thinking about it, realized that, again, the group of people that she was going to be hanging out with, because she knew most of them because they'd been over to our house during the 4 years before that, kind of drew her to say, yeah, I think I'll give it a shot, and hopefully this whole dad thing works out as far as him being my coach. Once she got here, I think she would say her experience was good. I'm a pretty nice guy. I think the biggest thing, and she never complained about this. She did a very good job with, I think, separating herself from me with her teammates, but there had to have been times when people complained about me and said things to her about me that I don't know if it would hurt her or would make her say, well, I'm his daughter, why are you saying that to me, kind of thing. So, again, she's never said that that's ever been something that was an issue, but I'm sure there had to have been times when that was a hard thing for her, and that's, I guess, sad. I guess if she did have to deal with that, but it wasn't a big enough deal. I guess she ever came to me and said, I can't take this anymore, I'm quitting. But I think we had a good time. She ran faster, so that was good. So she improved, which everybody as a runner wants to see when they're in college.